U.S. stocks prices were mixed last week. The S&P 500 increased 1.5%, while the Nasdaq jumped 3.2%, and the Dow Jones fell 0.5%. Wednesday's below expectations U.S. CPI inflation data and a Fed decision to freeze rates at 5.5% were the key economic events. Gold prices climbed above the $2,330 levels, and silver prices rose slightly. Platinum and palladium prices both declined last week. Natural gas prices hit a fresh 4-month high before finishing lower. Oil prices increased and closed the week just above the $78 level. In geopolitics, Hezbollah mounted the heaviest rocket attack against Israel since its war against Hamas began. Nvidia rose to a record high and briefly became the second most valuable stock in the world. On Monday, the S&P 500 closed at another record high, as the price of the stocks continued to rise in a bull market. On Tuesday, U.S. retail sales data was slightly below expectations, as sentiment remained broadly positive. Markets will also be watching Fed officials this week to see if hints are given over future Fed moves. The international restaurant chain stock price increased by 3.6% last week to hit a record high. Chipotle has been rising for much of this year following better-than-expected earnings results. The latest catalyst that has attracted attention is Chipotle's 50-to-1 stock split, due to take place on June 18th. The move follows Nvidia's stock split, which, in its first full trading week after the split, recorded a rise of 9.5%. However, the price could decline and go in the opposite direction. Oracle's stock price increased 9.7% in a week, in which the stock hit an all-time high. The AI-linked products and services provider company delivers applications, platform, and infrastructure technologies. The move higher came after the company announced cloud infrastructure deals with Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI, underpinning the company's reputation as an AI-linked stock. Earlier in the week, June 11th, the company reported below expectations earnings, but the company's positive forward guidance prevented negativity. Crude oil price jumped 4.1% and hit a 2-week high due to published data and bullish estimates. The OPEC monthly report showed that the cartel was sticking by its previous oil demand figure for 2024 of a rise of 2.25 million barrels per day. Later in the week, Goldman Sachs outlined a bullish case for crude, stating its price could rise due to solid summer demand. The investment bank stated that high demand for transportation and cooling was the main driver, which could push the market into deficit. Gold prices climbed by 1.4% to record its first weekly rise in 4 weeks. Tensions rose in the Middle East after Israel was hit by a large-scale rocket attack by Hezbollah. Wednesday's lower-than-expected inflation figures spurred hopes that the Fed will cut interest rates in September. But the Fed, which maintained interest rates at 5.5% on the same day, sounded a note of caution on inflation remaining too high. Wheat prices fell by 1.8% and recorded a 6-week low. Prices have been falling since hitting a 10-month high at the end of May. Last week, the U.S. Department of Agriculture released figures showing that global wheat supplies have fallen due to recent wet weather, but U.S. wheat supplies remain strong due to high U.S. wheat production. The AUD/USD increased to hit a 3-week high in a week, which showed that the Australian economy remains resilient. Employment data came in above expectations, while the unemployment rate remained at 4%, in line with expectations. The pair rose despite the strength of the U.S. dollar after the Fed tempered hopes following lower-than-expected U.S. inflation figures. This week, the Reserve Bank of Australia met to set interest rates which are expected to remain at 4.35%.